action. Hello everyone, this is Jacen Sharkey, and welcome back to the Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County with stories and STEM. And today we have my mom, Callie.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. And today we'll be learning about frogs and why they're
Indicators.
Now, what are bioindicators again?
Bioindicators are species that are very sensitive to their environment around them, and they're great for teaching scientists about the health of an ecosystem.
Exactly. Now, first, we want to know if you know the frog life cycle. So first, they are eggs, not eyeballs. But the first step is the eggs.
Out of the eggs come your tadpoles that kind of look like fish.
Few days,
They'll grow legs.
and become pollywogs.
Some people still call them tadpoles, but pollywogs is also a term you might hear. As they get bigger and they start looking like a frog, but they still have a tail, we call them froglets.
And the main man themselves, when they lose their tail, is the frog, the final stage, and then it starts all over again. Now, a good book to think about would be Frog and Toad Are Friends.
By Arnold Lobel. He's got a series of stories about frog and toad.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is Marsh Music by Mary Ann Berkes that talks about all different species of frogs here in Florida.
And the final one is I Don't Want to Be a Frog. I read this book. It's really good.
By Dev Petty.
Yep, by Dev Petty.
So the items that you need for today's project, you're going to make your own origami frog.
You will need paper, washable markers. I would suggest Crayola ones. They're the best.
A little bit of water.
A spray bottle, and a plate.
A paper plate, plastic plate, glass plate, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Now, when you take a normal size sheet of paper, you should cut it in half to create two half sheets of paper. Oops, I grabbed three.
So one sheet of paper will make two frogs.
Exactly, yeah?
And step one for your frog is to take one sheet of paper, thank you, and fold it in half like a tall, skinny book.
Yep. Then the next step is you take it and you get like a triangle.
You take the top corner of your paper and you fold it down so that it looks like a triangle.
Yep.
Then you unfold it and you do the exact same thing to the opposite side. This is our step 2. When you open it up, you're going to see like an X shape.
So then you take the part of the X shape and you fold it from there.
So that your final piece looks like this, with a folded piece of paper.
Exactly. Now this is probably the hardest part, called the squash.
The squash fold. So when you open it up, you'll have a star pattern. And what you'll do
is you'll take these two parts and you do it like this, right?
Take these two corners, and when you put them together, it's going to make kind of like a shape of a little house. It's easiest if you lay it flat on the table.
Yeah,
and then you take these two sides and fold them so that it looks like a little house.
And then you fold the middle like that.
This is the squash fold. So you take your papers and fold it flat, and then you squash it down the middle. So step 3, you should have something that looks kind of like a little house.
Yeah, mine's really crumbled.
It's okay. Let me see. Oh, this is going to work just fine. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight to make a great jumping frog. Now your next step is to put a diamond on top of your house.
Yeah. You take this little triangle part
and you fold it straight up so that it looks like a diamond.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And make it nice and flat. You're doing great.
And then you make the little diamond and boom, you're done.
Now, you've got a house with a diamond on top. Let's close the doors. You close the doors in step 5 by taking the side and folding it back to the middle so that it looks like a tall, skinny house now, or a brownstone.
Blech.
We want to try to make your doors meet each other, so we're going to bring them a little bit closer. Anytime you finish a fold, squish your fingers nice and flat so that it stays firm.
Mm-hmm. And
your next step is going to be to take the bottom and fold it all the way up to the middle of your diamond. Mm-hmm.
I think with my folds is that sometimes there's like little knobs right there and it doesn't want to fold.
That's fine. When you get it to look like this, You'll take this final piece, fold it in half. Awesome. And these are your back legs.
And then these will be your front legs. And then your frog will jump. And then we also made some frogs before and colored them, but this time we're not going to color them. This was mine. It's a frog with some sunglasses. And this is Mom's, a frog with stars.
So to remember that frogs are bioindicators, because they're amphibians, frogs also breathe through their skin. They absorb everything in the water, from pollution to chemicals, anything they come in contact with. And to help you remember that is you take your frog and you put it on a plate.
Then you take the squirt bottle
And spray your frogs.
and then you spray it.
Yeah.
And the outcome should look like this. And,
Yep.
and we're still going to spray it.
So you spray your frogs, and as you spray it, you'll see the colors start to bleed, and they start to move around. The more colors you use, the better. And then when it dries, it's gonna look more like this. After your frog dries completely, you'll have a tie-dyed frog that will still jump.
He doesn't jump very well because he's wet, but he still jumps.
Whenever they dry, they'll still jump pretty well.
Yeah, like this little guy.
Today's program is brought to you by
The Children's Service Council of Palm Beach County and the Prime Time.
Thank you for watching.
And we'll see you next time on the next Stories in STEM.
Bye.
Cut.